All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And yes, I'm talking lower than normal. So apologize. I wanted to get this out. My day didn't go as planned, but this is important. And I don't know. Maybe there'll be more news tomorrow. It's Friday, which usually is a slow news day, but just in case, I don't want to be rushed on this information. So this news that my FX Buddies blog post will cover is from Thursday, August 7th. But it's going to post everywhere August 8th because it's almost midnight. All right. So, myfxbuddies.blogspot.com is the best place, in my opinion, to interact with this content, but that's kind of hard to type in, kind of long to remember. So wherever you are enjoying this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Click there, and there will be a log. There will be a link to the blog, the free blog. You don't even have to put your email in, and I don't sell you anything. All right, so thank you for the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out. I have 3,000 subscribers. Woohoo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is to you. And, my constant nagging, right? At 11 minutes and 11 seconds, there's going to be an icon that pops up. There is, though. If you're watching on YouTube, the little icon pops up. You can tap on it. I think you have to hit it twice. And then you are subscribed for free. Right? Okay. And anyway, I don't even want to talk about the notifications. But anyway, all right. So there's one other thing, but we'll skip that. Spotify, thank you. All right. Now, so I had been asking, where's Al-Alaq? Where's Al-Alaq? Where's the CBI governor? What's he up to? What's he doing? Boy, did I get a lot today. So I put the title here from cash to clicks because it's so funny. Remember the other day they had the article about 90% of people. Oh, shoot. I wanted to show you. 90% of the citizens still keep their money in their homes, right? And if you don't believe that, look at all that dinar. That's probably going to be the thumbnail. Okay. Distinctive integrity. Kirkuk police honor two young men who returned a large sum of money to its owner. So, it doesn't say how much it is. Yeah, it doesn't say how much it is, but they tell them them returning the money reflects they have high human values. So see, there's still some good, honest people out there. So yeah, but this guy, what was he doing? Where was he going? It was inside a bag of rice. So he went shopping for rice. With all of that, I don't know. Plus, I think that looks like some dollars, right? But so see, they walk around with this. They walk around with their money instead of using the banks. So then to go to this big elaborate conference they had today, Central Bank Governor, we are working to consolidate the electronic payment infrastructure through 5 strategic projects. So this is the shorter article. And here, I'll make it larger. So, comprehensive transformation of electronic payment conference. And here it looks like, well, those of us who are going to be reading these articles, this phrase right here is, I've seen it already a few times. So it's like this is what they want out. It says digitalization is no longer a luxury option, but rather a strategic necessity for building a modern state and a diversified economy and achieving transparency in service provision. Iraq has had an historic opportunity to make up for lost time. So they're saying they've lost time. What have they been doing? Have they been held back, or have they themselves been doing stuff, right? But I like that they're admitting that they've lost time and launch a new vision to combat corruption and stimulate investment. So maybe they're going to fast track, right? That would be nice, wouldn't it? So then it lists the 5 things, and they're actually, some of them they already talked about: that instant payment system, the intranet, the national card scheme, this unified government payments portal. So all the government agencies are going to just be, you can only swipe a card, right? Then this last one, developing the National Operations Department. I'm not sure what that is, but hopefully we won't even be here to find out. And then regional, and then right here, regional and international partnerships aim to leverage the advanced tools of global payment networks. And then they don't describe those tools either. At least not in this article, but I'm thinking at this conference, they probably got pamphlets, and nowadays they'll put a QR code that tells you for more information and downloads, go here, right? So they may have done that. Developing the electronic payment system is a strategic option in building a diversified economy. So this is another article, pretty much says the same thing, but I just wanted you to see how much they put this out. They didn't cover it on TV, but today was Thursday. So Thursday, the TV can be a little different because, it's the last day, the day they start shutting down for Friday, which is their holy day. So now they kind of get into so the instant payment system will allow 24/7 financial transfers, 24 hours, 7 days a week, in case there's someone from another country listening that doesn't know what that means. Although everywhere in the world is 24/7, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, well, whatever. The Unified Payment Gateway for government entities, which facilitates payment procedures, reduces manipulation, and increases trust. And then, so that article, they go a little more detail into each project. But look at this. If you're following along with me, the governor called on the media and educational institutions to launch awareness programs, which is basically what? Brainwashing. Yep, awareness programs that highlight the advantages of electronic payments and the risks of dealing outside the official framework. Parallel market. Look at you. You're using the parallel market. You must be a criminal. Look at you. You're using crypto. You must be a criminal. But oh, look at you over here. You're using your debit card. We can track everything you do. You're a good citizen, right? Yep, that's my example of a media program. All right. So then here's yet another article, but this one is the one from the CBI. So I'm not going to read the title, and pretty much says the same thing. Oh, but here they talk about crypto. See this? His Excellency added that an in-depth study is underway to regulate dealing in crypto assets. taking into account challenges, risks, and opportunities, ensuring financial stability requirements, and strengthening fraud systems, and combating money laundering. You know that word, financing, right? But look at these pictures. So I have these images here. Look how huge that screen is. And this APS right here, so this is sponsored by Q Card, right? Q Card, whatever, which we just put sanctions on. APS is Arab Payment System. Yeah, they came in at a silver sponsor level. And then that's it. Well, this right here, that's the CBI. That's their logo. And then this is the symbol of Iraq's government. Okay. So then there they are. Look at all this gold details on the carpet. This gold pillar. There's gold on the ceiling. There's gold in the chandelier. Yeah. And there's a money shot of Al-Alaq. And there's their tables. All right. Now, when you read that, no. There was an article. Was it yesterday? You know what? It's missing. Hold on. Okay, no, we're good. So the article was yesterday that talked about commit, merge, or liquidate. If you didn't read that, if you didn't see that, you should. And why didn't you? That's okay. If you missed yesterday's episode, the at the end of this video, a little box comes up and you can click there and just keep on watching. You can have a MyFX Buddy marathon, right? Anyway, and then also if you go to the blog, I'll put it at the bottom of the blog too. And you know what? I might even I'm gonna put a timestamp. I haven't been doing them. I just don't have time. But for that one, I'll do that. I'll put the timestamp so you can go right to that one article if you don't want to watch the whole episode. But, I think you should. So anyway, they made provisions for the banks that don't want to comply, basically, with the international standards. What they do is pay some upfront money. They can pay $2.4 million a year or $1.2 million a year. So, yeah. So, at this same conference, the central bank announced the plan to make dollars available to sanctioned banks. Oh, but wait. I thought you didn't have any sanctioned banks. But here you go. And Al-Alaq would know, right? He would know. So, the plan is designed to benefit banks, allowing them to once again access dollars after being previously penalized, noting that banks that do not adhere to the plan's criteria must come up with other solutions to address the problem. So they want the Iraqi banks to be able to participate, and one should not just presume that because they're not following the proper procedure, they're crooked. Maybe they just don't have the equipment. Maybe, maybe there's so many unknown things, right? So maybe that's why they're doing it. But we'll be watching. We'll be watching. In fact, I believe that those fees will be paid to Oliver Wyman or the CBI, one of those two, and they'll probably hold them. And it's non-refundable. Non-refundable. So even if you pay your $2.4 million, you don't do any violations. Oh, thank you for that donation you just made to the CBI. But they're changing. They're moving on. And everyone should just trust the banks, right? So this is electronic payment in Iraq, digital transformation or cash forced. So they chose to use that. So this is more like commentary in a controversial move. Let's see, that's why I said I didn't want to rush through this because I don't know if it's important for the RV, but it definitely needed, if they're going to go digital, which that's what they want, they need to correct and improve infrastructure, right? And electricity. And by the way, they did have a record breaking um, time span of full electricity. So they're working on some stuff. In a controversial move, the CBI governor, Al-Alaq, announced that electronic payment systems in the country are witnessing accelerated growth, both in the private and public sectors. And whatever. So but it's being promoted as a national achievement. It raises many questions about the readiness of the digital infrastructure and the ability of citizens and institutions, especially in remote governance, to adapt to this sudden transformation. But really, it's not. They've been telling them. I think the key card came out in 2018, if not sooner. So they've been telling them, hey, this is the way things are going. But I guess, they didn't believe them. And rightfully so, right? They've been being told since 2018 they were going to get more purchasing power. They're still waiting for that, right? There's several things they've been told for years they were going to get that they're not getting. So, yeah, I wouldn't believe them either. So, is it a decision from above? Were the citizens taken into account? Although Al-Alaq, emphasized the existence of a ready digital infrastructure and cooperation between the bank and the government to implement the decision, the reality in many Iraqi cities tells a completely different story. See? So, like I'm always telling people, yeah, it's all good and great, but they don't have 24-hour internet. They don't have 24-hour electricity. So they got to get that. I was trying to explain to others earlier today, their goal is to get to like high global standards, right? I'm like, they need to just try to get efficient global standards, then work your way up to high. But yeah, so this they point out all the problems. And now I didn't do this. That's the way this heading is in this article. So I'm not sure why that's called strike through, right? When you put a line through the letters like that. I've never done that, but I know there's a way to do that. So I'm not sure why they did that, but that is the conclusion. And it says reform is not imposed, but built. But yeah, they impose and reform on this country. But I mean, it's they are fighting back or holding out. I'll say they're holding out, as evidenced by that man who lost his money, but those two young boys turned it in, right? Oh, that's not my four-legged roommate. I don't know. So there's no doubt that the shift toward electronic payment represents an economic necessity in a rapidly digitizing world. So you can read that. Okay, I think that's the last. Yes, that's the last article on that. So yes, most of this episode's going to be about that. Because like I said, I think that is important. So KRG expands solar-powered ATM network to boost cash accessibility. So I think that's hilarious. After we just read all that, and they had that huge conference about digital, and then here they have an ATM bar. I don't know what you would call this. And I wonder, are they on the other side? So if you're not looking and you're just listening, it's like a hut. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ATMs at least on one side. I'm not sure. Possibly they have it on the other side too. And then on top of it is solar panels, a shield of solar panels. So they like that. And also they say that there's other places in the world that are doing that. So a hub. They call it a solar powered ATM hub. They're across the region. So it'll give 24-hour access to cash for citizens and visitors. They expect to have 1,000 by the end of the program, whatever that is. So it's part of the Kurdistan Region's initiative to modernize financial infrastructure and not need electricity or less electricity. But I thought I saw something that said other parts of the world. But if it works there, why wouldn't they do it, right? I mean, anyway. All right, so here, if you want to support my FX Buddies, if you like what I do, if you find this helpful, well, for free, you can thumbs up and subscribe, right? And leave a comment. Wonderful, wonderful comments I get. But this Buy Me a Coffee, that'll be a live link when the blog is live. Cash App is always live, and PayPal is always live. And those $ for Cash App, right? And lowercase t as in Tom, I, s as in Sam, h, w, a, s as in Sam, h, Tishwash. And the same for PayPal. Okay. Oh, thank you in advance. Big or small, I appreciate it all. Okay, so I think by now you know the oil did not flow. Hey, look at that. I'm rhyming. Anyway, but yeah, so this came out early in the morning. Who is he? He's the oil minister media spokesperson. He had the pleasant job of coming out and saying, well, I know we told you a day or two, but yeah, we're going to need a little more time. In fact, we're back to soon. Oil exports have not yet begun, but we hope to resume soon. Yep. So that happened. But I will tell you, I don't think there's any problem with the oil. I think everything's fine. They do talk about the pumping process requires oil storage, but I think they knew that already. So they put another little detail there. Now, what we didn't hear about was the meeting that was to discuss the salaries. Remember, a Kurdish delegation went to Baghdad and they were going to discuss, oh, they're dancing. I like this part. The pilgrimage that is ongoing, they have these parts. Anyway, they're dancing like in the street. And even though I know they're not dancing like David, but it just reminds me of those who know what I'm talking about. Because they have drums and other little instruments, and then they're out there dancing in the heat. Okay. But anyway, I like to see that part. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So yeah, we didn't get an update on that meeting, so I'm thinking the holdup is the salary discussion, not the oil. And I think the salary discussion could be I was going to say more easily, but that's not good grammar. It's easier to resolve the salary issue, I believe, right, than the oil. So, but tomorrow's Friday, and maybe nothing's going to happen. Anyway, okay, so I don't know why, but they make a big deal when Sadani points out, good on you, so and so, and he gives them official letters. He doesn't do it very often, but here's an instance where he did it and they complained, and there's the letter if you want to watch that. But that's kind of like getting a presidential letter, right? For you're just doing your job, you're doing a good job. Here's a letter saying thank you. All right. Washington strikes new financial networks linked to Tehran. So apparently, we have found more smuggling paths to get the illicit sale of oil. So more sanctions went on. If you want to read that, you can. Then we have an American center proposes a new strategy for Washington in Iraq. And it emphasizes that Washington's interest requires remaining in Iraq and not leaving it to foreign influence from other countries. And that's what a lot of the politicians complain about, right? Like, no. We liberated you. How dare you try to get help from China? How dare you try to put Iran in power, right? So if you want to read that, you can read that. This is crazy. Are you paying attention to this? I just heard about this maybe 3 hours ago. Venezuela responds to Washington's increase in the reward for him. Did you know we were trying to capture him? Maduro, did I say? We're trying to capture Maduro. $50 million. That's crazy. So I'm going to put a disclaimer here. This is in Iraq's news. Matter of fact, I think there's 2 articles. Yeah, there's 2, but I just posted one because I knew I was going to run out of time. But, and normally I wouldn't even, that's not something, well, it was in Iraq's news, so they're watching it. But, you know, some of us hold that currency. So, all right, we're almost done. So here's the original conflict, and this, oh, you know what? I think I talked about that yesterday. I'm gonna skip that, but if you want to read that, one of the economic analysts is saying when that conflict ends, which it looks, you know, we're hearing they're gonna meet to talk. It may end. Gold, the dollar, and oil will benefit. Okay, in a nutshell, that's what he's saying. Okay, so these 2 articles, if you want to read them, you can. I just put them here. That's why I put them here. But I'm going to summarize. And yeah, so these are the last 2 articles. So I'm going to summarize the issue. So remember I said the framework is against Sadani. Well, this tells you. Now, I got a little surprise here. So, conflict within the Shiite house, and Sadani is at the heart of the confrontation. Okay, here's our friend Maliki. Here's Sadani. This guy is Khazali. And then this is the president, and he's a Kurd. So, the president of Iraq, Abdul Latif something Rashid, he is an ally of the opposition. That's like, I'm like, what? You're a Kurd. Why are you siding with the opposition? So, I don't know. But they do admit that, so there is division amongst the coordination framework, right? That's in black and white. We know that. So political strangulation. But also, there is growing fear of Sudani's growing power, which has prompted some parties to launch political attacks and appeals in an attempt to restrict his movement as the election approaches. So, see, that's why he has to do all this stuff in stealth mode. And I don't know. I still think maybe he and the US president don't get along, but it's hard to gauge, right? Because he has to keep his feelings to himself. I mean, other than, we know he likes Pizza Land and what's happening in the for Aza, right? Aza. He's definitely not for that. But yeah, so, and then this other one talks about the popular mobilization forces. And they're saying they even tried a soft coup. So what they did in Parliament with that fight and disrupting the session was a soft coup. And that is probably in Sudani's favor. And remember I said that. I said, if other people interfere with that law so it doesn't get passed, then that protects Sudani because Iran can't blame him. I mean, they'll try. They'll say, "Hey, we wanted you to get that law passed," and he'd be like, "Hey, you saw what Parliament did, right? You saw them hitting each other, pushing each other." So yeah, it's crazy, crazy. But anyway, all right. So I'm not gonna hold you. Thank you for listening, watching. Remember, if you stay to the end, yesterday's episode will pop up, and you can click and watch. Remember to hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I'm going to skip that other part. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time, thank you.